Developed by the Chinese Room and published by Secret Mode, Still Wakes the Deep is a psychological narrative horror game set in Scotland in the 70s during Christmas. You play as Cameron Caz McCleary, who is an electrician on board the Cadal Beira D oil rig. Before we go further, just a disclaimer that there will be spoilers ahead. Now we can get into the good stuff. The game starts off with Kaz's wife Suze narrating a letter she sends him, basically threatening divorce and talking about some trouble he got himself into on the mainland, and that's why he's on the oil rig, to escape it and let the heat die down. As we make our way out of our room, we run into fellow engineer buddy Finley. She talks about how the pipes in the oil rig are leaking and the condition of the rig isn't in great shape, and the drilling hasn't started yet. This is due to Rennick cutting corners and not keeping the oil rig up to standard and meeting the requirements of health and safety. As we can tell by this letter he received from Trott threatening industrial action, as he has failed to meet with him and the union to discuss concerns regarding the rig. She also talks about Rennick receiving a letter from the mainland about Kaz and isn't too happy. Lastly, she mentions digging a smoke but doesn't have a lighter, so Kaz gives her his. This will make sense later on, don't worry. Making our way into the canteen, we chat to Trotz, O'Connor and Gibbo. O'Connor mentions the rig is down to a skeleton crew on the pontoons due to it being Christmas and everyone else is going to the mainland for the holidays, and it's already dangerous as it is down there. You might be asking though, how do they keep themselves entertained if there weren't a lot of people on the rig? Well, it seems they kept themselves busy with a darts tournament one night. Unfortunately, Kaz wasn't so lucky, but it's entertainment at the end of the day. Trotz also mentions that the government is going to send more rigs up to where they are by the end of next year because they want Scotland's oil. This will make sense towards the end. Next, we move over to Brody and Kaths. Kaths visibly seems nervous due to the fact that he's going to be going on his first dive solo and doesn't know what to expect. And then Kaz says this.
Before? Christ no. I'll stick to the lecky, thanks. No great in tight spaces and it's blowing a gale out there.
Really filling the lad with confidence there, Kaz.
Last but not least, we chat to Adair. His demeanour when we approach him isn't the greatest, and there's a reason he's not entirely liked amongst his peers on the rig. Bit of a backstory on Adair. He's a member of the National Front in the UK, which is a far-right fascist political party in the UK. He's definitely not afraid to rap it with this poster in his room. Make sense? Finally, we talk to Roy in the kitchen, and before anything happens, Rennick comes in on the intercom requesting Kaz's presence in his office. More details get revealed about the situation Kaz got himself into. A Billy Chamberlain gets mentioned, and it seems he tried to chat up Suze, Kaz's wife, and Kaz wasn't about to let that slide, so we gave him a nice snap kick to the head. Allegedly. On the way to Rennick's office, we have a chat to Roper, who Kaz is surprised to see around considering he's not usually in this area often. Roper mentions the drill is acting up, so they're trying to figure out the problem, but they don't seem to be getting anywhere unfortunately. Finally, we head up to Rennick's office.
Well, here we fucking go. Enter!
Ah, Mr. McCleary. So glad you could join me, and sorry to have got you out of bed. Shut the door and have a seat.
I'm fine, Stan.
Sit your arse in that chair, you fucking liability.
But
I run a tight ship. Do you understand me? A tight ship.
Technically, it's no shit.
Shut your gob, you Ned prick! I am sick to fucking bouking of you wee gobshites messing with my operation. That chef might be a mate of yours, but he does not run things around here. I do. Do you understand me?
All right, why don't you just get on with it?
Don't you answer me back! You might be the height of shite on shore, McCleary, but out here, I am the fucking king. Do you understand me? You bring the police to my door, to my rig.
Look, I can sort this, right? I just need time.
Shut it, you clatty gobshite. I've got here's a man who can make a more positive contribution to this operation than you.
Look, I know...
Shut it! I'm in a meeting. What? For fuck's sake, Gibbo, I don't care. We're on a schedule. It's a fucking drill. You've got a fucking drill, so drill through it. Yeah, well, Roper's a whiny old fud. He's got a problem with everything. I don't care if it feels off. Just fucking do it! Or I'll come down there myself.
That trouble with the missus?
You're fired. You hear me? Fired.
Come on, man. It's only a wee bit of trouble with the polish. I'm good with the lecky. I keep things running, you said it yourself.
Out! Get off my rig!
Aye. A happy new year to you too, you cunt.
We head to the helipad before this happens.
Jesus, Gregor! Gregor! Get away from the edge! Gaz! Gaz! Get back, man! Gaz! Help me! Gaz! Don't let me die, man! Please! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! Jesus, just hang on! Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
Caz hallucinates the situation between Roy, Suze and himself where they talk about going to work on the rig to deal with the problem Caz got himself into. Making our way outside, Brody calls out to us for some assistance. There appears to be some racket coming from the dive bell. It's none other than old mate Raph's from earlier. We go down to release the brakes and pull up the rope attached to the dive bell, and Brody is unsure why it's taken Raph's this long to decompress after the events that have occurred. Brody mentions that the drill hid an air pocket which caused the whole rig to shake and react the way it did. Making our way under the rig, we come across the drill, and it's a mass organism that's coming out of the drill. It's glowing. Caz can also hear something because he's close to it. Douglas spots us and tells us to get away from it. Making our way into engineering, Rennie comes in on the intercom and mentions that there's a drill issue, so all drill operations are suspended for the time being. We finally get a flashlight, woohoo! As we make our way further through engineering, we encounter this. We reach Finley and she tells us Gibbo is in a bad way and to go through the water tanks to get through. We see our first glimpse of Gibbo climbing down the ladder and she was not wrong at all. Throughout our encounter with him though, we can hear two personalities talking, the monster and Gibbo. Can you tell which is which? Treading through the water, we unfortunately discover Douglas's dead body. When we finally get to accommodation, the phone rings and it's O'Connor. He talks about having other survivors with him, but the conversation gets interrupted by the phone line disconnecting. Making our way through the crew lounge, we can hear Trot audibly distraught, and there's an odd blue glow coming from the door as well. Caz has no luck getting them to communicate, unfortunately. We find Roy in the kitchen. Caz says they need to get off the rig and mentions getting to the lifeboat so they can get out. Heading down the stairs, we come across a creepy sight that indicates whatever the drill hit is spreading and evolving rapidly. Not long after that, we get interrupted by an unknown entity that breaches the rig's hull. Getting to the lifeboats, we find one is out of order due to a hole in the hull. But we find another one next to it in usable condition. As we go to pull the lever to release it, it gets unstable and slips off the hooks and falls into the sea. The phone rings and it's Rennick blaming Caz for the lifeboat falling into the sea. Classic Rennick. He tells Caz to bring himself and any other survivors he can to the helipad so they can evacuate. On the way there, the phone rings and it's Innes. He's in a sticky situation. Murray isn't in a good way and is causing havoc close to the helipad. We also have a first monster encounter. It's Trots. He seems to be attracted to some light, which is why you can see him repeatedly slamming the dryer door. Running towards Roy while Trot is behind us in an intense chase to the death, who inevitably leaves us alone once we get through this small space. While talking to Roy, he tells us he's not in a good way and needs his insulin. A bit of banter occurs.
To inconvenience you, Mr. Bloody Fit and Healthy. I tell you what, I'll have a little chat with my pancreas, shall I, and tell it to pull its socks up.
Alright, fuck's sake. Could you not just eat some fucking jam or something?
Oh, bloody hell, the man's a medical genius. I'll get on the blower to Dr. fucking Spock and tell him not to panic. We've solved diabetes here.
It's fucking McCoy. No Spock. He was the point-eared cunt.
Caz suggests to Roy to try to make it to his cabin to retrieve the insulin, while Caz goes to the helipad and makes sure Rennick doesn't leave without them. Making our way to the helipad, Rennick announces that all personnel alive and on board the rig must get to the chopper now and not later. After all that, we discover another dead body, Sunil, poor guy. Then we witness Dobby's tragic death by Mur, and we also run into Ennis, who says they can't leave without Mur stopping them, and that the crew lift is the only way up, and Caz says we just have to get past him as it's the only option. Making our way past him, we raise the cargo hoist to allow Ennis to get to the crew lift, with us following behind him, until unfortunately he gets grabbed and murdered by Mur. We get to the helipad finally, until this happens.
I'm right here! Archie, stop! Wait! Wait! Fuck! Bastard! You lying bastard! Where are you going? Jesus Christ! I can't fucking die here. Christ. Zeus. Fuck. Come on! Come back! Hey! What the fuck's it? Fuck!
Making our way into the office, we find a letter from Strathclyde Police sent to Brannick regarding the situation Caz got himself into. This is why the big man wasn't too happy. The phone rings and it's Brody telling us to head down to engineering to manually restart the generators. Making our way through, we run into big man Brannick. What a head! Once we escape him, he chases us again, trying to leave outside. Before we get into engineering, the phone rings. It's Bruce telling us he lost O'Connor and that he hurt his leg. This will matter later. But before Bruce can tell us where he is, he unfortunately drowns. Finally getting into engineering, we run into Finley, and she tells us to reset the protective overlay to start up the generators. But that sadly fails, and then she tells us to restart the generator manually with the key, to which she finds what's wrong with it and tells us to go fix it. But before we restart it manually, we come across small organisms that have a bright glow to them, and it's making us feel weird when we get close to it. Making our way to fix the issue, a deer seems to have a fantasy with banging fences. Like the great Mariah Carey once said, he's just too obsessed with me. After getting past the deer for the final time trying to get back to the protective relay, it finally works. And man, a deer isn't afraid to express his fantasy, that's for sure. The phone rings and it's Brody telling us the rig is about to sink if we don't do anything soon. He tells us in order to stabilise the rig and buy them some time for now, to go down to the pontoons and release the tension winches in legs A and B. Once we release the tension winch in leg A, we make our way to leg B, and on the way there we discover some more dead bodies sadly. We also run into O'Connor, who has sadly been consumed by this unknown entity. Remember earlier when Bruce told us he lost him because he injured his leg? Sadly it makes him susceptible to the entity, but there was still a piece of him in there still. We release the last tension winch in leg B to stabilise the rig and buy some time. Taking the lift back up to accommodation, we look at the entity in all its glory. Enjoy the breathtaking view. Goes to the phone to check on Roy and he's still not in a great state, but he's managing somewhat and says he's going to make his way to the cabins to finally retrieve his insulin. Making our way to check out the explosion, we notice that Derek has been taken over by this unknown entity. It's getting bigger and bigger, spreading rapidly. And there's oil leaking everywhere too, one spark and the whole rig goes up. We run into Brody while investigating the explosion and he says if we don't deal with the fire on the main feed, it will spread to the Derek and it won't be a fun ending. So he suggests switching the flare to the auxiliary gas pipe. Making our way there, we run into old mate Adair again. We get to the switch and turn it to the gas pipe, but nothing happens when Brody goes to reignite it. It's still blowing gas to the rig. So he tells us we have to go reignite the stack manually with the flare. After an intense chase with the deer getting to the stack, we throw the flare, killing the deer, and reigniting it in the process. Trying to make our way out, we unfortunately don't make it and get knocked out. We have another hallucination in which this time it's an argument between Caz and Suze about the Billy Chamberlain situation. She is not a happy chap. Coming to, we see the current state of the rig and the drill. You almost don't even recognise it with how much it's spreading and evolving. Making our way back into engineering, we discover the dive bell from the start of the game that had caps in it. Poor guy. Swimming through a flooded engineering, we find Finley and she's surprised to see us as well as Brody as he thought we were dead. Brody says he needs us at marine control to get the rig floating again before Roy comes on the intercom and pleads for help and is on the rooftop of accommodation. Making our way once again through a flooded engineering, we see more of this unknown entity when we walk into the crew lounge, or what's left of it anyway. As we enter the bathroom, some strange noises occur. Upon entering another bathroom, we discover someone unfortunately consumed by this unknown entity. Going through the vents, we discover old mate Trot is still in the rig, and we enter one of the cabins, and discover someone who didn't quite make it sadly. Heading up through the vent to the next room, we discover someone else in the same state as the other guy, but worse. Making our way through another bathroom, we discover something quite concerning, but nonetheless we move on into the vents until Trot interrupts us and chases us through the vents until we get into the next cabin and see another body inside the bed. Heading into the next available room, we go through the vent to the next room and find Roy's insulin.
Roy's insulin is here.
Crawl through the vents of the hallway and Trot is near us and chases us to the stairs until he gets crushed by the falling debris, and that is the end of old mate. We'll be seeing ya. We're on the rooftop of accommodation where Roy was said to be. We get inside the cabin to discover this.
Talk to me, big man. Come on, Roy. Roy, wake up, you prick. Please wake up. Wake up, come on. Oh, you bastard. Don't leave me here. Please, big man, come on back. Christ, don't leave me. Roy, don't leave me. I can't do this, man. I'm scared, Roy. I'm fucking terrified. What am I going to tell Susan? Hey. I mean, she's going to fucking kill me, man, you know? She loved you, big man. She really loved you. So did my girls. Wait, what am I going to tell them? Oh, sorry. Your Uncle Roy's not coming home. Aye, I know. Me and Ollie. I love this big man, do you hear me? I loved him.
The phone rings and it's Finley. She wonders about Roy, and with the bit of silence from Caz's end, she inevitably finds out what happened. But she tells us to go to marine control so we can sort out the rig and stabilize it to prevent it sinking. Heading into marine control, we discover someone none other than Roper, the guy we talked to at the start of the game. Finley walks us through what to do and she tells us to flood the forward pontoons to level up the rig. And once we do that, this happens.
Fucking aye! See, that's the whole what's after all, eh?
Oh, thank Christ, Finley. What now?
Brody's got a plan. Meet us at drill ops as soon as you can.
Okay, I'll meet...
Now we gotta make our way to drill ops. But first, we have unfinished business with Mr. Rennick. Walking through the hallway, the water levels rise again and there's hatches throughout the way to give us breathing space, but each hatch has something happening in it. And one is certainly a sight to see, that's for sure. We receive our final phone call when surfacing from the water, and it's Caz hallucinating about losing his daughters. Walking through another hallway and the floor collapsing, forcing us to swim again, we start getting pop-up flashbacks in our head while swimming. Once we get past that, it's time to face Squirrel Rennick. As he's chasing me and I make my way through a small space, the water levels rise again, forcing us to swim, which is bad for Rennick as he dies from drowning. Once we're done with him, we finally make our way into drill ops. We find Finley sitting down on the phone in a sad state. She gives us the phone, and what happens next is probably the most emotional part of the whole game.
Caz, you made it.
Brody, what's wrong with Finlay? She's freaked out here.
Listen, Caz. There's no much time. There's oil and gas getting in here. When it fills, it will be headed right up the drill pipe.
You on about?
I'm still in the pontoons. I've only got a couple of minutes. I can't stop it. The rig's a time bomb now. You understand? One spark and... You need to find a way off.
Just get back up here and we'll work it out, yeah?
I can't do that.
What?
I can't get back up.
No, wait.
I'm sorry.
Wait, listen.
You're on your own now.
I'll come to you. All right?
No, you won't. You wouldn't even get halfway to me. The leg's flooded and the gas, it's no possible.
You got your dive gear?
Aye, but
So you can use that?
it's oil, Caz. There's nothing to be done.
Don't fucking say that.
I knew the risk when I came down here.
Fuck. Can I lose you as well?
Listen, I'm alright, Caz. I'm already back on Skye. You've never seen water like that, Caz. Clear, peaceful. You just let go and everything's fine.
Aye. That sounds beautiful.
You go one day. Alright?
No, fuck that. I'm never swimming again after this.
Caz, you and Finlay, you could do this, alright? I'm sure she wouldn't do something so stupid.
Brody, you there?
Caz,
What's stupid? Talk to me.
it's getting higher.
Alright, I'm here, Brody. I'm not going anywhere. Alright, I'm here.
Get him!
Brody. Oh, fuck. Brody. Jesus.
Once the line disconnects, Finley puts the pieces together while also grieving the loss of her friend and fellow crewmate, and she says she wants to put an end to this while showing the lighter. After we chase her down, she gets struck by a falling beam and hands the lighter to us to finish the job. Once we enter the white light into the derrick, we see what this entity has turned into, and scarily enough, it has some sort of a heartbeat rhythm to it as if it's alive. Once we drop the lighter, the fire rises up pretty quickly and explodes the rig. The game ends with a reminiscent memory of Caz and Suze when they met for the first time after a while, then progressing to them getting married and having a kid. We spawn in Caz's room with Suze in the bed, and we get kind of more of a clearer look into Suze and the two daughters. We go outside to Suze narrating her final letter to Caz saying she's optimistic and that they will get through it and she wants to make it work with everything going on. And that is that. What a masterpiece of a game. Now let's get into some additional info and some fun facts. First up, remember the lighter Finley was holding up at the end when she said she wanted to end it? Yeah, that was the lighter we gave her at the start of the game. If you notice with all the monster encounters we had, they were all crew members we talked to at the start of the game in the canteen. Except there was one group of people we couldn't talk to at all, which gives us that wow factor in my opinion. So the big question, what exactly is this entity that Drill hit? Well, no one knows. It's not actually explained in the game. We can just see it evolve and get bigger over time, but don't actually know what it is overall. But we do know that it turns people into flesh-eating creatures. However, it still seems like there is still a bit of the person inside the creature, almost like two personalities colliding, which is scary to think about. Remember when I mentioned Trots was talking about the government's going to send more ships out here this time next year? And we blew up the rig so the entity didn't get any bigger and spread to the mainland and got destroyed with the rig? Well, the core isn't destroyed and the other ships are probably going to want to find out what happened and may reawaken the entity and make things worse. So if anything, destroying the rig didn't do a whole lot, sadly. And we may never know what happened on the rig with evidence being destroyed along with the rig. If they do a sequel to this, maybe we'll know more, but for now this is all we have. If you have any other fun facts or additional info that I may have missed that you want to share, please feel free to share it in the comments. I appreciate the support on the last video to do with this. If you want more styles of videos like this, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new for more content like this, and I will see you legends in the next one. Peace.